everybody, my name is Demian Solis. I am an autodidact painter and a writer from Mexico. And with this video I will officially begin my series of tutorials regarding how to make a Magic the Gathering altar. I will explain to you from the materials that we will be using to the very basics of this. And later on I will give you more advanced information, for example how to apply a lacquer or how to paint in a foil card. Now, a very important thing, I don't claim to be an expert. I actually don't have art education. What I will do is to share my experiences and what I have learned so far with you. I will try to explain as best as I can. Now, on why I'm doing this series of videos. When I began looking for this information, I found that basically there was none outside of some speed paintings in YouTube and a very small blog in which they give very basic information, but actually it was not that helpful at all for me. So I found myself reading a lot, studying a lot, watching many art tutorials in YouTube, and I also ruined a lot of Magic the Gathering cards. And then when I began working on this, I found that my art was basically rejected in my Magic the Gathering community. But I didn't give up because I knew that I had something. I loved my work. I loved what I was doing. So I decided to share it in some very big Facebook groups of Magic the Gathering, and that's when I began to receive pretty positive comments. So I knew that I was walking the right path. And well, it's been a while since that, but now I have decided to share all of this information with you. Now, just don't forget, please. It's pretty important that all of your comments, all of your doubts, all of your positive, constructive comments, please place them in the comment section below, so I know what kind of content make for you. Okay. And also, if you want to know more about me, you can find my social media in the description of this video, and so you can help me, please. It would be good if you can like, share, and subscribe to my channel so I can reach more people, and then I will be able to make more videos for you. Okay, I thank you very much for this. Have an amazing one. Welcome everybody to this tutorial, and today I will show you how to make a Magic the Gathering altar from zero. Okay, I will be using this Throne of Eldraine card. It's actually an opt, and I chose it because it's quite cheap and easy to find if you want to make one like this one. Now, a couple of things before we continue. It's been about 10 years or more since the last time I spoke like on a daily basis, so sometimes it's kind of hard for me to remember the words. So if I make some sort of a weird cut during the video, it's possible that I'll do it because I need to do some translation or I need to find some information. I will also pause whenever I need to let the paint dry on the card because it's pretty important. Now, let's get to it. Regarding the materials that we will be using. First of all, your paper towel. Okay. Also, you will need your paint. In this case, I'm using these brands. This is Schminke. I'm not pretty sure about the pronunciation. This is a brand I can find in my country. I usually use of this half and half in order to get the paint that I want. Also, you will need to use your brushes. I use them in number 0 and 2. Actually, it will depend on you what thickness you would want to use. But I found through using many of this that these are the ones that I like, at least for this kind of job, this kind of work. Another important things: your pencil, sharpener, and eraser to do some sketches on the card. Also, you need a toothpick, just in order to retrieve some of the remaining paint that you don't want on the card. Remember, also you will need a base in order to put your paint. It's not necessary that you buy something very expensive. You can buy, actually these are pretty cheap on art stores. If you don't have money to buy them, you can only use I don't know, some old boxes, tear them apart and use the parts in order to put your paint. Or I have seen also some people use, for example, I don't know, old CDs. It actually works also. Don't forget about a pot or vessel for your water. Will be very important. Another important thing is that you will need a couple of lamps. One in which you can place a LED light bulb. This one will work as some sort of an illumination for your room, and the other one you would have to place a regular light bulb, one that actually generates some sort of heat. Why? This is because otherwise you will need to wait for the paint to dry for a long time. And this heat lamp, it will help you in order to dry it some sort of quick. Now, before we continue with this specific color, I want to show you some basics. On regards of the quality of the cards, regular set cards are, well, they have a very good quality in order to make altars. Although cards from commander sets or commander decks usually have very poor quality. They are extremely thin, and it's very easy for them to bend or get wet. So it's extremely difficult to paint on these kind of cards. You have to take extra care in order to make them. I will show you a couple things. Whenever you put your paint on your card, you have to make sure it has the right consistency that you want, because otherwise it will be too thick, or you can ruin the card if it's too wet. For example, if you pick some paint that has almost no water on it, it won't spread as you want it on your card, for example. Okay, you can do it, but it will go sort of very thick paint. And at the end, this will make the card not playable at all. And also you want it to be extremely thin, because you're going to apply many layers. So that's why you want your paint to be the way you want it. Okay, it has to be extremely thin. Now, if you put too much water on it, what will happen is that your card is going to absorb that excess water and is going to sort of bend. Extremely awful. Now, I'm putting a lot of water in here. It will take a while for it to absorb it and to bend. So I'm not going to show you that, but I will tell you what will happen. What will happen is your card is going to bend like this, or maybe like this, or in some specific parts. For example, it could bend, well, I mean, like all the card will keep plain, except for this part. It will bend like this. Or it could be, I don't know, something like this. Or like this, I don't know. The thing is that you have to keep your paint kind of extremely thin, because otherwise it won't work. Now, on regards of these kind of cards that I was telling you, whenever you place paint on them, what will happen is that it won't fixate. Can you see what the paint is doing? It's sort of spread. That's what happened with this kind of cards. That's why it's extremely hard to work with them. What you have to do is, once it starts to dry, immediately you have to spread the paint again, and that way you can keep this from happening. But I am showing you, I'm telling you why or how to fix this, because otherwise it will be hard for you to know about it. Okay, and also we will apply around three layers for the base of the card that we will be working. And this is up. Okay, I'm going to start. I'm doing the mixture of my paint with the consistency I wanted. I'm using right now the number 2 because I'm applying kind of much paint on the card. Otherwise it will take twice if I use this 0 brush. Now let's begin with the apply of our paint. Now some people uses white instead of gray, but I have found that white is not as easy to work as I would like to. Now at least that is for me. I don't know, maybe you would like to work with white, for example. Also, another important thing, there are some people that actually know how to use airbrush, and they would apply their layers, or actually they would paint the card with airbrushing part. I don't know how to do it, so that's why I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm just letting you know. So maybe if you have some knowledge on it, it could be on your advantage. Some important things. You will need to practice a lot, even when applying this base part. You're going to ruin a lot of cards. At the beginning, I will suggest that you use only very cheap cards, like for example basic lands, or uncommon cards, very cheap uncommon cards. because otherwise you would be throwing away a lot of money. Okay, this is the first layer. It's beginning to dry. Let me put it on my heat lamp so it dries a little bit, and then we would apply the second layer. If you have any doubts, any comments about what I'm doing, please let me know so I know what kind of content make for you. It kind of dried. Let's continue with the second base layer. Another important thing is very important that you keep your brushes in good shape. Now, how to do it? While you are using it, obviously they are going to have paint and they are going to be wet. But whenever you are not using it, I suggest you to dry them immediately. Don't keep them on your water pot, because that kind of ruins them pretty quickly. I think I'm going to apply a third layer so we can begin working on this card. You have to keep watering your paint because it kind of dry easily. Now I will show you something else before I forget. Something important about my paintings, my work, is that I like the paint to get some kind of fused with the paint of the, I mean like with the image of the card, because otherwise it would seem kind of weird whenever you paint only this edge part. It would seem like a different thing. For example, in this specific card, what I'm going to do in order to do that is take this part of the wall, paint it also, and paint it also. This way we would have a paint that would be some sort of fused with the original image of our card. You would see at the end. Now remember, this is a very basic Magic the Gathering altar, an extremely basic, a very easy one. There are some works that I have heard from other altarists that have taken even 80 hours of work. This will take about an hour and a half, maybe less, maybe a bit more, right around an hour and a half. You could make it even faster, but I don't like to work like many of the painters that I have seen, because some people, for example, what we'll do, they would paint black all of this part of the edge in order to okay, technical issues time. I think that the camera stopped recording and I didn't notice. What I was trying to explain here is that there are some painters, some artists that will only paint the border of the card with the least details possible. Some of them actually will only paint black in here and will paint something around here and that's it. But I actually don't like to paint like that. What you would notice in most of my paintings is that actually they look like sort of a fusion together with the picture on the card. Then, following this, I proceeded to apply to finish applying the first layer of a gray paint around here. Then I let the card dry. Then applied a second one. Let the card dry again, and then apply a third and last one, and then I continued with the painting. Okay, let's continue. The paint is dry now. You can pass your finger carefully, just for you to feel it. And now, this that I'm showing to you seems kind of easy, but it actually took a couple years for me to actually get it. I ruined many cards. Now, and even though I feel like it's been about 1 year from now that I feel like I've been really improving. And since I began drawing, it's about 5 years. So what I'm showing to you is actually my personal experience, because I learned this by myself. I didn't have money to pay actual art classes. Okay, let's continue. I'm just feeling some sort of excess in here. I'm trying to retrieve it so it's not that thick. Yeah, it's ready. We can apply the colors now. Now I want you to see the colors, because I'm not pretty sure the translation for this. I mean, like it says the color in here, but I think that depending on the brand it may vary. So this is a turquoise color. Maybe you can appreciate it. I would also use this kind of darker blue. It says indigo. We'll also use this cerulean blue. In Mexico we call this like king blue, I think. This is a sort of sand color. This kind of dark green. It says in here sap green, black, and white. Okay, now I will do the sketch for the card before we continue with painting. I would use my ruler to define these walls. Let's see. You have to be extremely careful, because otherwise you are going to take out some of the paint. Please be extremely careful. Even though when I have practice, I sometimes take out some of the paint. Okay, now the other side. Now, like I was telling you, it's going to take a while for you to get this in order to do this. Okay, so just don't give up. You have to practice a lot, you have to draw a lot, you have to paint a lot for you to really improve. And just please don't be lazy, like I was telling you. You have to do the best work possible, always. Okay, and I will draw a bit of the cape of this wizard. Here is some sort of a black color, like smoke color. This is sort of a bluish color on the cape. I would leave it like this. Also, I have to mark this wall on the background. This wall has some sort of it has like the form of a key, like the place where you put one of those old keys. Okay, now we can paint. First, I will do these more near wall part. I will mix some green, some of these dark blue, just a little bit. This cerulean blue, and of course black, because otherwise we won't get the tone that we want. Now, another important thing that it may take a while for you is to make the mixture of colors. I mean, like I already I am kind of advanced in that. I mean, like I usually see the colors and I immediately have an idea on how to do it, because when I began, I remember it was like some sort of pain in order to get the right colors. I will apply just a couple layers of this color to the wall, and I will let it dry. Now, why did you find my video? I mean, like, how did you find it? Were you looking specifically for well, to learn how to make a Magic the Gathering altar? Were you looking for other topics regarding Magic? I would later show you how to make more difficult paintings. But for now we will begin with the very basics, like this. Just remember, any doubt, any comment you have, please place it in the comment section below, so I know what kind of content to make for you. And also, if you put any comment, I will try to answer as soon as possible. I will help you in whatever way I can. I know it's kind of hard for some people. I mean, like I was telling you, I didn't have any money to pay art classes, so I had to learn by myself. Okay, that is the base coat. Now we can apply a bit more of this paint to the background, but I think it's kind of darker, so I will take a bit more of black, mix it, paint around here, and we will apply it. You have to be very careful when applying the paint. You have to let the paint dry, remember, because otherwise your card is going to bend. You can ruin the card totally. When I was painting at the very beginning, I ruined cards that were almost done. It was kind of hard lesson, because actually I made some very beautiful paintings that I ruined because I didn't know how to let the paint dry properly. Now I would put this cape part. I will grab some black and we'll mix it with white to get that kind of smoky tone. I just didn't have any white prepared previously. Okay, I have it now. It's going to be kind of grayish. You can put some more dark, some more black, so it gets darker. Okay, this is pretty good. Right. Now goes this part that is kind of bluish. Going to mix these two blues. Let's see how this goes. Okay, it's kind of clear color, so I will put only some black on it, make it darker. And remember, you have to keep your layers thin, because otherwise your card will be useless. Okay, and finally we need to paint this hole in the wall just with some white and green. So we can paint the light that is coming into the entrance. Okay, we have it pretty good. And now I would let these dry, and I'll be back with you once I have applied the second layer for these colors. It won't be necessary to apply any more layers. Okay, just a moment please. Thank you. Okay, I applied the second layer and it has dried already, so we can continue now. Okay, so we can give to the paint these light effects. I mean, like the light is coming in through the door in here, around here. I will use some white and green. Now, this has to be extremely wet. There's some of the exceptions in which we can use the extremely wet paint. I would take out some from my brush with my towel, like this, and then I would apply it very lightly here, little by little. We can have that light effect in this zone of the door. Okay, that's it. Now we have to paint this other part of the door, and on the other side to the right over here. That would be about it, I think. That's good enough. Okay. Now the following is to paint this side of the door. This side also. I will grab some white, a bit of gray, a little bit of green. Do you like any sports? I love basketball. I used to play it with my friends a while back. I also practiced around 11 years of Taekwondo with my daughter and my mother. I also like American football. I mean, like the what you call football. We call it American football because we call soccer football in here. So I'm not pretty sure if that's the right term. I think it's not. I mean, like I understand for some people it may not be. But I like football. Soccer I don't like at all. I like to also watch the Olympic Games. They are pretty cool. So I think next year we have some of those. What have you watched lately? I mean, like on TV or internet? I've been watching a series called this. I think it's sort of the Immortal. It's from Amazon Prime, and I've been also watching a series in YouTube that is the continuation of Jumper, the movie Jumper. Do you remember it? It came out around 10 years ago, I think. The movie was alright, but the series is incredible. Okay, I'm just letting it dry a little bit, and then I would use the number 0 brush so we can make kind of small details. Let's see, bit of green. Okay, I will paint some sort of divisions. What do you think about this? In a moment, once we are about to finish this painting, I will show you the comparison with another painting that I made of this very same card, in which you will be able to see the difference between a well-worked altar and a very lazy altar. In a moment, I will proceed to paint some of the magic effects, some of these mana energy flowing through the book and the sword. I will paint some effects in here. We would use some gray, black, white. For it to have as many details as possible. We want it to look pretty cool. Now, like I was telling you, whenever you do a painting, take your time. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Every painting will require different times. And what I have learned so far is that sometimes when you think a paint would be extremely easy, sometimes those are the more difficult ones. And sometimes it would depend on the color. I mentioned at the beginning that there are some colors that are extremely hard to work. Whenever I paint something that has orange, red, yellow, my god, it's extremely difficult to do. Okay. Now, something that can help you improve, I mean, like the regarding on details of your paintings, is to observe things in general. You have to look at the sky. You can look at the trees while you are walking down the street. You have to look at the animals. You have to look at people. You have to see all the details around them. And in some moment when you have opportunity, paint them. It's for practice. I guarantee to you that it will be fun and will help you improve. Another important thing that I consider, it's very important that you don't grab a very specific style. You have to do many styles of painting so you can find the one that would be yours. And it can range from comics, cartoons, more realistic things, manga, for example. I mean, like I am like regular in general. I think I can do many things, but for example, I have seen some fellow altruists that would be incredible to paint some landscapes, for example, but whenever they paint human faces, for example, they would be in huge trouble. Or on the contrary, I have seen people that it's incredible painting people faces, animals, but whenever they have to paint some landscapes, they just can't get it. So that's why you don't have to grab a specific style. You have to paint from everything. Besides, it's pretty fun, for real. I like to paint things. I like to paint people, animals, also landscapes. Animal for example, the sea, the sky. I mean, like the clouds. Those are some of the more difficult things to do. Okay, this is going pretty good. Now I will give some touches in here. When I began painting, I received basically my work was totally rejected in my community, in my magic community in Mexico. I know and I understand that when I began, I mean, I know my work was actually pretty awful, but I didn't give up. I improved a lot. Then I decided to share my work in some international Magic the Gathering Facebook groups. I didn't know what to expect from that at the beginning. I mean, like I was pretty kind of scared. I thought that I would get some of the same comments, but on the contrary, I began receiving extremely good comments. That was some sort of an enlightenment for me. I mean, like it was incredible. It was amazing receiving comments from people telling me that some of my work was the most incredible things they have ever seen. Later, I got expelled from those groups only because of being Latin American. And I get it. I mean, like I understand that my culture sometimes get some sort of bad fame, but I can guarantee to you that there are many good people in here. Actually, I think that we are more good people than bad people. Many more. Okay, it's going pretty good. Now I would paint the back part. I would use the same process. The white, gray, and green. More white. Here. I think it's only on this side. I think it has some sort of bluish tone on it. That's it. Now let's make some other effects, like stony effects. Okay. Some more touches. And then I think that's going to be it for this. All right, now let's make the cape. Let's give it some effect. You have to imagine where the lines are going to be here. Draw a line here. Okay, and let's make some light effects with gray, white, a bit of black. Let's see how it goes. If necessary, I will add some more white, I think. Yeah, that's it. It's kind of clear, so I will fix it in a moment. I will put more black, I think. Now, it's been about 5 years since I began with this, and I started painting because I wanted to have practice in order to make a series of graphic novels for a story that I've been reading. I've been writing since I am a child. It's been many years since I have thought about this story, and now obviously it has changed with time together with me. It has grown. I had to make many changes because I know that my story was actually kind of childish, because like I was telling you, I started thinking about this story when I was very young, and I am working on it now. With time, you would know more about it. It's going to be freaking amazing. I'm still trying to get these light effects well. I really want it to look pretty good. Okay, that's it. Now let's continue with the inner cape that is bluish color. I'm going to take two color tones that I have, a bit more of the darker tone, a bit of black, and let's see, we need to use that in a moment. I will need some white so we can do some lighter effects like this in here, just a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Now we're going to give a couple different tones in here so it doesn't look that plain. Okay, that's freaking cool. That's very good. Now, the final touches for this. We will make some kind of energy emanating from his hands and from the book and the sword. For this, I will only apply white, plain white, for the moment. All right. This is going very good. Now, since I already made the the Spanish version of this video, I think this is going way better than the first video we made. Now another important thing, this is the only time that I would do the very same alter for both versions of the video, for the Spanish and the English one. That's because I chose this card because like I was telling you, it's pretty easy to make. But from now on, I would make different cards for the Spanish and the English versions of this. Okay, this looks pretty good. Now let's make the energy effects. I think you want kind of wet the paint, because whenever you do this kind of vanishing effects, you would require that kind of paint. Okay, now this is the tone that we want it. Right, it's looking pretty cool. You have to press extremely light your strokes so you can make this effect. Like I was telling you, your paint has to be extremely light, very wet, so you can make this. Now once you grab the paint from your palette, I recommend you to do this. Just a little bit on your towel, so you take out the excess of water. We're about to finish. This went extremely well. You need to grab a bit of white so you can do some more effects in here like this. Just touch it a little bit in some odd parts. You have to imagine how this energy would flow. Did you ever saw any Bob Ross tutorials? I think that's in some way part of what impulsed me to paint. I've never thought about it until now. Right. Let's go with the other side. What's your favorite format of Magic the Gathering? I love to play standard. Also modern. I mean, like, it's kind of a difficult format, but I like it also. Commander, not so much. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I like the format. The thing is that I don't have cards enough in order to play it. I know it's freaking amazing format, but I don't have the right cards to play it. What do you think about now the new format, Pioneer, and now also that Wizards it's pushing Brawl to the limit. I mean that because they are making us play it in Arena. Okay. It's pretty. Some more energy flowing here. Have some more energy surrounding it. And just the final touch. Around the book. And that would be it. Okay, now I will show you how to take out the excess paint. This is kind of a difficult process. You have to be extremely careful. Otherwise, this process also can ruin your painting. Let me show you. If you apply too much strength, okay, it trespasses. I don't know if you can look at this. This is what happens if you put too much strength on your card. So you have to be extremely careful with your toothpick, and you have to get it wet on the tip. Then you have to do this extremely careful in order to retrieve the excess painting. Now this is another process that it will take a lot of practice for you to get it. Little by little. You have to be very careful and have a lot of patience. Otherwise, you can take out paint that you don't want to take out. Like I was telling you, you can basically ruin your card. Many alterists don't do this. Okay, now I don't know why. I don't know if they don't know how to do it, or it's just because they're kind of lazy. Now I do it like this. I have seen some alterists that actually cover the parts they know they are not going to paint with some tape. Now, I have this kind of tape in my country, but I don't use it because I don't know if this is too good quality or too bad quality, because whenever I apply it to the card, what this will do is that it will take when I retrieve, I mean, like I can place the tape on the card. Once I take out this tape, it will take together part of the card with it. So that's why I don't use it. Now, like I was telling you, maybe it's a thing that you practice in your country with the tapes that you have available and see if it doesn't make the same effect. I don't know if there are any other more specialized materials in your country also that you could use in order to do it. At least in my country there are none. There are no other. Or not that I have found, at least. You have to retrieve. You have to take out the paint, the excess paint, and then dry it. Then you have to clean it. You have to keep your card dry the more that you can, so it doesn't bend. You have to be extremely careful with this process. Now I have been getting better with this because, like I was telling you, it has also taken a few years for me to get it right. And even though I have learned so many things, I know there are many more left for me to learn. Many more. I mean, like, I know there are many other painters that are much better than me. Alright, this is the paint. We are going to take out. That's it. Okay. Now, we have some parts that we have to cover. Now, this is normal. Okay, it's almost impossible that you get it right. Well, I don't know if you can appreciate it. Here's a little black part that we will have to cover. Here's a whitish part. We also have to cover. This is quite easy. I will grab only a bit of black, put it here. Okay, that's it. You have to look for a tone that it's kind of similar to the one that you have there. In this case, this is kind of a dark tone, so we're going to use a black. I'm going to mix a bit of green and black for this part. A little bit of white. Okay, that's good. And here, just some plain white. Okay, there it goes. Looks perfect. Okay, now the final part is to sign it. Choose your sign. Choose your signature. Choose your rubric. In my case, I usually use some gold color. I know it's possible to use something called golden leaf, but I haven't gotten any time to try it out, to practice with it, so I don't know how to use it. Now, gold color would usually require a base, because this color is too clear. It will it's almost like transparent, translucent. So I would use some yellow to cover the base of my raw brick, just a little bit. Going to place it over here. And I have to put this base because otherwise, like I was telling you, the gold color will look like translucent. That's it. Let me put it to dry just a little bit. What do you think? Did you like it? What do you think about the process? Okay, now I grab some gold. Just a little bit more. And that is it. This is our Magic the Gathering altar. Looks amazing. Alright, now like I was telling you, I'm going to show you another altar. This I painted it also just to show you the kind of work some other people do. Now I'm just showing you for you to know it. I don't recommend to do this kind of work because I think it's extremely lazy. But okay, no. Do you see the huge difference between one and the other? Like I was telling you, most of the people will only try to match this color around here, and they will plainly black. They will plainly paint black in here, just like that. For example, I have practice, so I don't left so much excess painting in here. But there are some people that would leave a lot more. But as you can see, I didn't retrieve it. This is the part that we retrieved. Okay. This is a huge difference between making a good work and a bad one. Okay, I thank you very much for taking the time watching this video. Don't forget please to like, share, and subscribe to my channel so I can reach more people and make more content for you. Okay, I thank you very much and see you later.